You have confidence, but it is a precarious situation. Daniel, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All righty. I want to go to Brookmount Capital Senior Portfolio Manager Emma Muhleman. And Emma, you know, you're absolutely one of the best at monitoring the pulse of the globe, right? You cover everything. So I'm just going to ask you straight: are we going to hell in a handbasket?
Depends on your glass half full or glass half empty outlook. But in short, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be very. So Nassim Taleb made a quote. He said, "If you're going to panic, panic early."
So is that what's happening right now, or do you think they're trying to be too cool by half? You know, in other words, I've always said to people, sometimes there is a fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying here is, if you have a bunch of small banks, even larger banks that pay 50 basis points on deposits or next to nothing, and then you raise rates and you can get Treasury bonds paying 3.5%, 4.5% money, and then you go and have a little banking thing with Silicon Valley Bank, and then it gets announced to the whole world that guess what? You could just go online and buy the treasuries and move it out of the stupid deposits that aren't paying you anything. And there's a lot of people with over $250,000 and they're sitting in Chase with like 800 grand, just older folks. Like I'm thinking of parents of mine, that just did that, switched out from the above 250, even though they're in a big bank, they still switched it over to treasuries because.
Well, I mean, yeah, you look here in the States, and Treasury Direct, for instance, it's a massive spike, We're seeing money markets, right? $100 billion this week, 120 billion last week. People are smart. They're finally making a move, and I get that. Ironically, a lot of folks with less than 250,000 are making a move too, just because they want to sleep at night. So, having said all of that, where do you see the banking system going? Because as we said with the prior guest, it feels like we're in a precarious situation.
Yeah, so the only way I would think that one could stem the departures of deposits from regional banks and the smaller banks is by, and I'm not saying I think this is going to happen by any means, but the Fed would literally have to just drop rates so low that it makes it no longer attractive to bail on deposits and do all this work and money, to make it so, bring rates down so low that it's almost unfathomable, if you will.
Right.
So I would anticipate we are going to continue to see and already have, probably has already occurred at certain banks that has just not been revealed yet. And maybe even the regulators don't know just yet, but more deposits are leaving.
Right, a lot of banks, in your opinion, then a lot of banks are on the verge or will eventually go out of business. So I hope Janet Yellen gets her message straight and we're prepared for it. Emma, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Coming up, Treasury Secretary Yellen,